Hi everyone, it's Don and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Well, you know who wasn't having a fantastic day? 2,000 police officers who were there to cover the G7 summit in Italy. Well, they had to move from their cruise ship because it was just detained by prosecutors for being so outrageously dirty and unsanitary. We'll have that story. We have the Better Business Bureau in the United States shutting down one of those cruise resident ships, no longer able to sell in the United States. Celebrity Cruise Line has sold 2 of their cruise ships in a little bit of a surprise move. And yeah, we also have the departure times of a Carnival ship are now being changed. Yeah, for the next 2 years. Starting this December, Celebrity Cruise Line says it will be selling and transferring 2 of their exploration ships over to Lindblad Cruise Lines, and they will undergo a new multi-million-dollar refurbishment under that brand. They are getting rid of 2 of their very small expedition ships that head out to the Galapagos Islands, of course, which are well known for their environmental protection that goes on there. Only certain types of ships are allowed in that area. Now, are the cruise line getting rid of not going there anymore? No, they still have 2 ships there, like including the brand new Flora, which they said they built specifically for that itinerary, and that's what they want to do in the future. They want to add more ships, but they want to purposely build them for that area and design them for where the ships that they're getting rid of right now were bought from other cruise lines and just set up there as something to do really, really quickly. They're not losing a lot of passengers, shall we say. They're getting rid of the Expedition, which is only 48 passengers, and of course the Exploration, which is only a small 16 passenger cruise ship. So they're not losing a lot of capacity. And I know that they have in plans to build another ship along the lines of the Flora to do the Galapagos Islands in the future, so the capacity will actually grow, but kind of a surprise that they're getting rid of 2 smaller ships that are some people's favorites, and some people won't be too happy that they're going away. Next, we have prosecutors in Italy have now detained a cruise ship called the Goddess of the Night, which was basically bought up last year. The one company in Greece has been buying cruise ships since the pandemic, ones that cruise lines are getting rid of, smaller companies that went under. They did do a refurbishment apparently last month, and according to websites, they are selling, starting in July, sailings on this ship with very popular DJs and music festivals and things like that. Well, the prosecutors just detained it as the police were forced to move out of that cruise ship because of the conditions of the sanitary environment on board. They're really not going into too much details on it, but they're basically saying that it's fraud by saying that this was the way the ship was supposed to be, and this is the way the ship was actually like. And I guess the people you don't want to, us cruisers, we go on and we expect something and it's not like what we expect. We can complain a little bit, but we don't do too much about it too often. However, when you do it to police officers, they tend to know the people that are going to know the prosecutors, and they're going to go after you. So we'll follow this story because I'm curious to see what happens to this ship in the future. But yeah, they're detaining the cruise ship. It's not allowed to leave port while they investigate now. Surprise! Speaking of surprise, we have a cruise company that is trying to sell one of those residential ships, and they were operating under Victoria Cruises line, KFT, and they were selling these in the United States as well as other places in the world. People have put down, on average $10,000 deposits to hold this ship and this room in their cabin for them. Well, people are saying they're not hearing anything, and they don't have a ship, and there's no name, and they think that the person's LinkedIn account is fake, and they haven't even seen or heard anything in months. And now the Better Business Bureau have investigated this and basically shut down that cruise line in the United States from selling anything more to do with this residential ship. And apparently some people are out $20,000, $30,000. And so, yeah, it looks like this could be a complete scam or a fraud, or somebody just had visions of grandeur and thought they could pull this off, and it's not happening. It's just one of those really big warnings out there for people trying to go on residential ships and cruise for life, etc., that you got to stick with a company that at least looks like it has a ship. Because how many times now have we heard that it just folds and then people are stuck trying to get their money back? And this one sounded a little bit shady right from the get-go, the minute I started hearing about what they were trying to do and offer. It's not good, but people think they find a deal, think they have a way of life that's going to change for them and retire, etc. And they end up falling for these people's sales pitch. That really, that's all they have is the sales pitch and nothing else. Next, I have a Carnival cruise ships that's changing its start time, its sail away time, for more than 2 years. Well, before I get there, let me just invite you to hit that subscribe button if you want to keep up to date with everything going on in cruising. From the reports of a cruise ship you may go on because you have a DJ that you like and just found out it got detained by police, not to mention the ships that are changing hands, the new ships coming online, and destinations that may be a little bit safer, a little bit more warnings, etc. We'll try and make your cruise as easy as possible, save you a little bit of frustration, maybe some money in the meantime, and I hope to entertain you along the way as best I can. But most of all, I want to keep you informed so your next cruise is just that little bit better. And again, I really do appreciate it. All right, let's talk about the Carnival Paradise. Has just announced that starting on July 4th of this year, their sailings will start leaving a half hour early. Instead of 4 o'clock, it'll now leave at 3:30, which doesn't sound like a whole lot of time, but that pushes their embarkation time and their, time from leaving. A half hour makes it a little tighter, which a lot of people are latecomers because they live near the cruise port and they just drive to there. Some people actually go to work in the morning and then head to the cruise ship in the afternoon, and this can affect a lot of people's travels, especially if your flight gets delayed and you end up flying in the next day. That half hour can make all the difference in the world. I've sailed with many people in the past that their flights were delayed and etc., and they literally made it to the ship within like 10 to 15 minutes of their closing that up. Now remember, the ship might sail at 3:30. They usually say you cannot get on the ship an hour or 2 hours sometimes before that. So that cuts that time to get on the ship even faster, which a lot of people say, it shouldn't affect too many people, but it really, really can. And how about those times when the ship is getting back even a half hour to an hour late, or customs takes a lot longer for people to disembark? Well, guess what? That affects everybody getting on the ship, and it can be a little bit of a log jam. So yeah, Carnival Paradise, all of their sailings basically for 2 years, all their next sailings starting on July 4th, make sure that you get there on time and don't rely on your old time. They're sailing a half hour early. Well, let me know in the comments down below. Have you ever looked into getting a residential ship? Have you thought about that? Has that idea intrigued you of living on a cruise ship and retiring on a cruise ship? And would you ever sign up for one of these residential ships. I think it's a little bit of a risk myself, but a lot of people are really into it. Well, I hope you appreciate this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Want to see more tips, more tricks, more travel vlogs from around the world? Hit that subscribe button. Until next time, have yourself a safe and a great vacation.